Well, he said, she said, everyone said that the government's having their way. And he said, she said, everyone said that there really isn't much to say. When that feet of emptiness gets you down, empty your mind and feel the hate of the crowd surround you. Well, he said, she said, everyone said, because celebrity's a real piece of work. And he said, she said, everyone said, that I've always been the biggest jerk. Oh yeah, shooby-doo-wah, oh shooby-doo-wah, oh shooby-doo-wah, oh the 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 shooby-doo-wah. Well, all my friends stopped confiding in me, so I'm not sure what to believe. When that feed starts to feel too bleak, and I'm once again at my knees, let go of everything that everyone said and carry on. Just carry on. Let go of everything that everyone said and carry on. I need you so. How will I know? 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 I need you so.
Hello everyone, how are we? Hope we're having a good evening. Move this a bit forward. My name's James, aka CalmDownKidder, and this is of course chiptune.chat, your weekly chiptune chat. Yeah, every Thursday at 7 PM, just discuss the latest tracks, upcoming shows, tech news if we've got it. But today is our very first chiptune chat with the mighty Floor Bobber. So I'm gonna play some the new tracks first. I've only got four of them today. Then do the interview with Floor Bobber, and then talk about the upcoming shows. Finish off with one more track, and then that's it. So hi everyone for tuning in. Nice to see ya. Reverb Blank, hello. I think you're asking for the artist for that last track. That was a Sun Shower via Etc. remix by Parasol. So that's on a. It was on a previous chiptune chat. So I'll find the link for that in a sec for you anyway. So yeah, let's get right into it, I suppose. New releases. So Shirobon has released a new track. It's called Brand New You, and that's a brand new track. So it's not quite chiptune, it's more like synthy wavy type stuff, but you know, it's Shirobon. So yeah, this is Brand New You, the brand new track from Shirobon. go. That was Brand New You, the brand new track from Shirobon. That's available on his Bandcamp now. And I believe there's a new album, new album coming 2023. So you got that to look forward to. Right, we'll go straight on to another artist with an upcoming album, and this is their preview track. So this is emo chiptune girl Jasmine from Exciting Excellent. She's played at Chip for Cyberspace before, sort of plays guitar, and it's like, chiptune / guitar emo, really good stuff. So this is a new album, You Will Watch Me Die. That's due out in August the 25th, and this track that's out now is called Become Dream Rank 1, which is featuring Caleb Haynes from Hey I Love You, which are another good chiptune / emo band. I'll play them at some point on a future show, but for now this is Exciting Excellent, Become Dream Rank 1. There we go. So that was Become Dream, Rank 1, by Exciting Excellent, and that's off the new album You Will Watch Me Die, which is due out August the 25th. So that's definitely one to look out for. That'll be an absolute belter. Right, so yeah, a few people love that one as well. Paul Manton said that was crazy. Nudie11 says banging, and Infotoxin says more chip emo please. Yeah, absolutely. Fully back that statement. I feel like at some point on a future chiptune chats, I want to do like maybe centering on a particular genre of chip music. So obviously like an emo chiptune one would be great, and stuff like that. I would say this is Wendy says, oh my god, LSDJ Scrams time as well. So yeah, there we go. Lots of love for that track, and it is a belter. Right, speaking of Infotoxin, friend of the show, of course. She's got a new release out, so she's been releasing some previous sort of tracks from throughout the years. So yeah, this is 2 new tracks, some Mega Drive and Effects tracks from around 2015, but it's just come out recently, so it classes as new. It is a new release. So there's 2 tracks on this little EP, and this one's called, it's either called RUH or it's called RUH. So you'll have to double check with Infotoxin on that one. So yeah, this is Ruh by Infotoxin. There we go, that was Ruh by Infotoxin from their new release CF03. So that's on Bandcamp now. Do get involved and buy that. Right, so we've got one more track. Darley Sam, who's been listening a few times, suggested this ages ago and forgot to put it on. So they sent me the link the other last week. So yeah, I'm gonna, hopefully they're here. It'll be the one time they're not watching. So yeah, this is the Longest Johns. Made a few Commodore 64 tracks, or like Commodore 64 inspired certainly. And this is Santiana chiptune. Oh, Dahlia's here, so yeah, enjoy this one, as recommended by yourself. There we go. That was great, wasn't it? So that was Santiana by The Longest Johns from their Commodore 164 album, which I'll post a link in the chat so you can get that there if you so desire. So yeah, there we go. So right, we'll get to the interview now. So yeah, it's pre-recorded like we did it last weekend because I didn't want to try and figure out streaming and live interviewing at the same time. So this is an interview with Floor Baba. So I've cut it sort of up so there's a few bits of interview, then there's some tracks in between, some of Floor Baba's work, which is I think relevant to the conversation. So yeah, hopefully I can edit this during without it coming up too awful. So yeah, let me know how it's all going, if you can hear it and everything like that. Yeah, sound. There we go. So here is the first chiptune chat with Floor Baba. Hello, so I'm here with Floor Baba. I guess just introduce yourself first of all, and how are we as well?
Hey, my name is Jesse, also known as Floor Baba. Musician, been doing this a long time, coming from the chiptune community, and just released an album that I'm very proud of last August. It's coming up on the 1 year, and just kind of keeping it moving.
Okay, great. So I guess like sort of early on, like, you know, sort of growing up, what were your earliest memories of, you know, music in particular? I guess gaming as well, but like, you know, particularly music, and what sort of made you want to become like a full-time sort of, you know, studying composition, going into that? What was the early choices or early decisions that made you go, that's what I want to do?
So I can remember specifically, like when I was really young, seeing like the adults around me play like Super Mario 3 for the NES. I think it was like the NES version, and seeing that and just being like totally enamored with like this like total, in my mind, like this total art of like interactive picture and sound, and just being like, that's so cool. And then as I got older, that just kind of continued, and specifically, it was around the time of like the Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64 where I kind of really fell into the music of it, and just loving that there was all of this like modal jazz and all of this like, you know, heavy metal with these weird instruments in them, and these like just powerhouses of composers that had this new niche that they were filling, you know, people like Koji Kondo or like Hip Tanaka, and you got people like Grant Kirkhope, just like incredible music. And as I got older, just kind of like, I just knew that was like a world I wanted to be in, and that's just kind of alongside everything else that I do, stayed pretty steady.
Okay, cool. And I guess so. Obviously, yeah, I know you've been doing chip music in previous monikers for like Sleepy Time Jesse was your earlier stuff. So what kind of made you go from sort of saying Sleepy Time Jesse's, you know, this is a full stop, and I'm starting again? Well, not starting again, but you know, starting a new sort of fresh fingers Floor Baba. What was kind of your thoughts and behind that?
I was kind of like, it was during like the 2010s, 2015-ish, like SoundCloud boom that happened.
Yeah.
And I was kind of changing over from doing like my game soundtrack chiptune kind of sound. And game soundtracks and chiptune are not the same thing, I know. It's like two different sides to the coin of like that technology and composition practice. But I was kind of starting to get over into like doing solo music and kind of doing music for its own sake, inspired by games. And also I was just like having a real dog of a time trying to break into composition for games in any type of way that was like sustainable. So at a certain point I just kind of went like, okay, I'm gonna go down this wormhole and see where this goes. And so that was around the time that I started changing up. I went by Sleepy Time for a while, and then I was kind of like, my music's not really calm or sleepy though.
Okay.
So at that point I was like, okay, what are we trying to do here? And sat down and really like spent a long time on it. Actually, people don't know what Floor Baba means, but I did spend a long time coming up with it, and there are reasons I came upon that name, and I just kind of like, okay, cool, let's go.
Okay.
And it's worked out.
Okay, so what are the reasons for that? Or if you don't want to go into it, that's obviously fine.
Yeah, I like the mystique of it. You know, it's kind of like, it's a little bit Dadaist. It's a little bit surreal. When you hear it, you kind of go, what? And that's just kind of like something that I liked about it. And then also, like, I came to that from a lot of thinking. And then at the end of it, I was like, cool. Well, it doesn't even have to mean anything because it's just, it's wonky. It just fits in this like niche in my mind that I was like, yes.
Okay. Yeah, because it's definitely a name that when I like speak to people about it, they always kind of go, "Wait, what?" Yeah, like, exactly what? So yeah, it's definitely a successful artist name in that point of view. I do think there's definitely something to be said about seeing what like maybe your peers are doing and going against that. Not like, you know, being a contrarian all the time, but sort of certainly for stuff like that. Like, I know it's obviously a bit cross, but, you know, marketing and stuff is obviously real important, especially if you want to do it full time and that. So it's certainly like an interesting one to kind of bear in mind. Because I guess like sort of the next question, I guess, would be like, you've got an ear for music that's sort of very influenced by video games. I think that's fairly, not obvious, but that's fairly sort of, you know, that is something you enjoy and you like. But you've managed to do it in a way that doesn't sort of veer into nostalgia for nostalgia's sake. Like a lot of chiptune kind of suffers from that, in my opinion. Like, there's a market for it, there's an area for it, and that's fine. But obviously, it's not for everyone, and it's definitely not for yourself. So, sort of, is that like very much deliberate when you're composing and making stuff, or did that kind of just happen naturally, sort of over the course of your musical journey?
It's super deliberate because I see a lot of people kind of fall into like the nostalgia wormhole where they kind of think about that time as being great and this time as being not great. And in my own life and in my art, I try to like recontextualize and find new ways to feel and think about nostalgic things.
Okay.
And how do I create something today that will feel nostalgic in the future? You know, because like people back then, they weren't creating nostalgic work, they were creating fresh work.
Yeah.
But you feel nostalgically about it. Create fresh work now, and then that will continue. So I've been kind of like really, it's a big part of my like creative theory is recontextualizing and updating nostalgia and not falling down too far or not pandering too much and like trying to remain fresh, but find ways to actually like bring that to now, you know, like think about it differently, work with it, recontextualize it. It's amazing.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, there's definitely sort of you know, play with those sounds, play with those kind of, you know, things for sure, but without just going, remember the past, guys, you know. Really,
yeah, don't be so pessimistic. Like, yeah. I listen to a lot of music and I can feel that there's this like, the music itself might not be pessimistic, but I can sense that there's like a creative theory behind it that feels pessimistic. Like, you're not looking to the future, you're looking too far back. Like, it's just something that it's very subtle to me, but I have that critique of a lot of stuff that I listen to in this sphere. Well, not a lot, but some stuff in this sphere where I'm like, I just wish that I could go in and just kind of like just change your attitude just a little bit. I think you would break out of this. Like,
yeah, I think something important in that is like not to be influenced too much by chiptune directly. Like, I remember, like, you know, sort of when I was first into it in 2007, 2008, there was a wave of artists who were like obviously influenced by, you know, Rake from the 90s, you know, Ellie's back obviously Kraftwerk and that. But, you know, sort of they used those inspirations to then create something new. But then sort of as that got a bit more popular, there were quite a few artists influenced by those people, but then didn't get influenced by from outside of it as well. So obviously, you know, it's important to get inspiration from outside of, you know, the music that you're into kind of thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I actually just did a reel on Instagram about this because my I think our mutual friend Donut Shoes asked me about how I went about like finding that kind of middle ground between very unlike things. And like another one of my theories is just to like find that space between things and drill down, you know. And if you're doing something someone else is doing, well, what do you like that's not that, and find that middle ground and drill down there. Absolutely. Don't drill down where this person drilled down. Go over here a little bit, drill down, and that's how you make your own sound.
No, absolutely, that makes a lot of sense. You know, you definitely do have a unique sound.
Thank you.
I guess so. Sort of production-wise, as someone who was also a massive fan, what is it about FM bass that just like hits different? I guess.
I think that it's like, I don't know, the sound design behind it. You get such complicated waveforms. Sometimes they don't even sound good. They're just complicated, but that can be cool on its own. I have like a really popular tweet about FM bass where everybody thinks that about FM synths, and everybody thinks I hate it, but I don't. I just think it sounds like farts, and that's neither good nor bad. But yeah, it's a cool way of synthesizing, and it's also very like esoteric. You know, it's not like other things. Like it has to do with all these like ratios, which is like, it's such a different way of like thinking. But I've kind of come around to it a little bit more these days.
Yeah. Okay. I guess so. Each album that you have, seems to have a distinctly different vibe, but also still very much Floor Baba, your signature in that. How much thought do you kind of put into going from one album to another? Is it just kind of a natural, like I've said before, musical journey for you, or is it something where you've gone, I don't want album A, I don't want album B to sound like album A, I don't want album C to sound like album B? And what's kind of your thought process when you've like got a new project that you want to do, or got a new album that you want to make?
I think that I kind of like, I kind of feel like been there, done that pretty often with my stuff. I'll be like, okay, cool, I did that. And then I kind of take in the information as to like, how do I feel about it? Am I proud of that? Do I like it? Is it aging well? Do people like it? What kind of people like it? Am I getting shows from it, etc.? When I play this out, how do people feel? And all of that kind of is part of my process of like, okay, cool, what's the next thing? And I definitely deliberately try not to repeat myself, or at least to like reiterate. I try to branch out with every single one that I do. And a really good example of that is my Dirtbird EP. That was the first EP I ever did where I was like, okay, cool. For this one, we are playing with tempo. Okay. We are pushing it too fast, or we're dragging it too slow. So I would start the projects, get a little far down the path, and then I would just kind of close my eyes and move the tempo slider around. And as soon as it felt weird, I would sit it there.
Okay.
And that became like my most popular piece of work for some reason, Wigglecore specifically. And it's a song that I had made that I sped up, kind of like you would with like, Nightcore or with Hyperpop.
Okay.
And then, sometimes too, with recent stuff, I'll slow it down too much, kind of like getting into the vaporwave tempos and stuff. So yeah, it's each time I definitely have different things that I'm like actually putting into like my theory for that specific process.
Okay. Well, you brought it up, so I will ask about Dirtbird and obviously Wigglecore in particular. It's sort of taken on a life of its own.
Yes, it has.
It's your most popular track, like play-wise, by like quite a large margin.
Yeah.
What is your sort of, what was your initial reaction like? What do you feel about it now? Is it like, do you love it, do you hate it? What's kind of, what's your feelings on Wigglecore?
I mean, like, I made it. I like it. I think it's, it's really like it's highly constructed. Like it's an ABA BCA form. I'm pretty sure that a lot of my songs are. And then it's like really condensed. There's kind of like, it's all meat and potatoes. Like it's just complicated, varied drums in like breaks, and then solo, and like you got your lead. It's like, it's very much kind of a pop song.
Yeah.
And while I was making it, I was actually like, this sounds like a meme. Like I was about to hit render, and I was like, this is gonna get memed, isn't it? And then and here we are all these years later. I think that was like 2017 or 2018, and all these years later, I mean, it definitely still is going out there. It's my most popular song, and I mean, it's helping me pay for some synthesizers, so that's cool.
Okay. So it's mostly love for the track, so that's good.
Yeah, I kind of went back and forth. Like, part of the reason that I drilled down so deep with Prehistory is because I kind of felt like my legacy, if I can even say that, I don't even know, has kind of gotten away from me with like the things that did pick up. I'm like, okay, well, that's not really like what I mean to be saying. Like, yes, quirky, goofy, funny, fast, happy, sure. But I am more than that, and I just kind of wanted to be like, okay, I've got an audience, people are watching, a lot of new people are along for the journey now. What am I trying to say? And it really inspired me to kind of take hold of what was happening with my, like, quote-unquote music career, and try to change that momentum a little bit.
Okay, no, that's absolutely fair enough. Yeah, so Prehistory, for me, it's like, obviously a lot of electronic music can be soulless, and just very sort of almost mechanical, I guess, but
which can be cool.
Which can be cool. Like, obviously that's not like, a diss or whatever like that. It's just obviously some of it, a lot of it can, but there's definitely you've definitely gone sort of, machines as emotionals type of thing. Definitely like get that from your music, where you've obviously poured your heart and soul into it, and it's like, it comes out, it's very genuine, it's very sort of heartfelt, I feel. So obviously, yeah, I appreciate that you've got like a sense of humor that is in your work, but you don't want that to define you, obviously.
My everything.
Yeah, of course, that's it. Like, it's fine to have a sense of humor, but you don't want to be like the comedy music person per se.
Yeah, like I can do that, but I can also do other stuff, and anybody can, everybody can. Like, we shouldn't. I think that a lot of times online, like trying to form your brand as yourself, you can kind of fall into being kind of one note or one dimensional because it's easy to grasp.
Yeah.
And it's probably even successful. But it's just, I'm always like, I don't want to wake up and like be somebody and I'm not.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I want my art to also accompany all of my, different facets, because that is who I am. It is my life. And where it goes, it goes. That's not up to me, but I will be presenting it to whoever.
Yeah, of course. So I guess with Prehistory as well, the title track, Prehistory, it's got like a music video with Some of the Pixels, and you also collaborated with a modern art history professor, Catherine C. Howler Ebner. Hopefully I've said that right. So how did that sort of collaboration sort of come together?
I think it was one of your New Year's shows, one of your streams, that me and Some of the Pixels first collaborated, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, and that was like probably like 2020 or 2021. And ever since then, we've been still working together. I met them when I lived in Detroit. I played a show at, I think, the Tangent Gallery, and they were there and we met. And then since then, we've kind of collaborated on music videos, and it's, honestly, I can't say enough good things. They are incredible what they do.
Absolutely.
And they're not very well known. Like, they're just not. And I would love for people to see this and go, oh, I got to go check them out.
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
go work.
We'll paste a link in the chat. That's absolutely
Yeah.
Some of the pixels, check them out.
Go work with them. Go talk to them. Like they're very good people and incredible what they do. So yeah, when I was like kind of planning this album, I was like, okay, this track needs to have a video, and I'm burned out from animating No Fear of Death and Slime Pile, so I'm gonna work with them because they're better at this than me. And it went great. And I kind of came up with the plot. It's based on like a story of my family that that I don't have to totally get into here, but it's kind of like it's a story that I was told actually happened involving my grandfather, and it was just kind of something that kind of stuck with me and evoked feelings in me, and I was like, okay, cool. So I want to put this down, you know, on paper. I want this to be like a part of my art. And so then I wrote that up, and I worked with some of the pixels to kind of like storyboard it. And at a certain point, I was like, well, because this deals with themes of war and there's some violence in this, I want to talk with a person who is like knowledgeable about how other artists out there, specifically surrealist artists, have dealt with themes of war before. So it turns out Braz, who runs the label DESKPOP, actually their mom is a history professor. So I was just like, hey, let's have a talk. And they gave us a PowerPoint of like, it's honestly a whole lesson about it. It was incredible. Okay. And I shared it with everybody, and we kind of like took notes, look at things, and then we were like, okay, what's working, what isn't? Do we feel good about our take on things? What have other people done? And it just kind of helped give everybody peace of mind that like we could create a sensitive piece of art about some of these topics.
Next up is a new single called Prehistory.
I hope you enjoy it. The music video was animated by some of the pixels.
cool. And I guess I'll lead on to who would you sort of be open to collaborating with in the future? Like, obviously, that doesn't have to be like, artists, video or music. That could obviously be similar, like people in academia who would sort of, if you've got anything in mind for like a future project, who would you like to work with?
So I've recently been kind of like branching out and trying to talk to people who have been doing this a while, because I'm eyeballing what I'm going to do. Like, I'm in my 30s now, and it's kind of like, okay, we got to get serious about this. Or at least I feel like I want to get serious about this. And there's people out there who have been doing this, and what kind of knowledge do they have? Like, I don't know about you, but I feel like often in our circles, like, I'm the adult in the room, and people look to me for guidance, and people are inspired by what I'm doing. But I'm like, where's my version of that? Who am I inspired by? Who am I looking to? Who can offer me wisdom? And I don't have a whole lot of that, to be honest with you, in this world. So I've been reaching out to people and having some success. There's a really, really talented electronicist, producer, post-jazz guy, Jan Bang, based out of, I actually forget where, Norway, maybe? But he worked with John Hassel, actually. This is a book of John Hassel's, and John Hassel worked with like Brian Eno and all those guys and everything like that. It's like very much this circle of like weirdo artists who made it happen.
Okay.
And Jan Bang has worked with John Hassel, and so I checked out his art. He's incredible, and I've emailed back and forth with him, and I would love to like glean something from that. Or if you ever see this, like, work with me. Like, you're awesome. So yeah, kind of doing stuff like that. I reached out to Chip Tanaka once too, but I didn't get a response back. But yeah, just kind of like, that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm looking for people who have been doing this a while, and I want to work with them, or I want to learn from them.
Okay, cool. I guess this is sort of a follow-up question. Like, you've obviously been doing this since sort of early 2010s, and you've seen obviously a lot of the SoundCloud type of rise, and then arguably the rise of like hyperpop / digital fusion, that type of thing, which is something you were in on the ground floor basically. What are your feelings about like the current sort of state of like that scene at the moment, and are there any acts in particular, upcoming acts maybe, that you're sort of really digging at the moment?
I think that, in my opinion, hyperpop has kind of gotten away from itself. When I remember it when it was like first starting, and it was very much kind of this like weirdo experimental scene, and possibly it still is. I mean, I'm in my 30s. I don't consider myself to be part of the hyperpop scene or even audience, so I don't want to speak for them. But from an outsider looking in, who was kind of there when it was first happening, I feel like it's gotten away from itself, and kind of like a lot of it is so pop punk influenced.
Okay.
It's like very distorted, fast pop punk, which is cool. But I remember when it was a little bit more, I don't know, experimental. Like, I feel like if you're doing something that falls into a sound, like, part of what made hyperpop cool was that there were so many different ways to do it, But I still really like Gex. I think Gex has maintained their original style and their sound this whole time. And then there's a couple other people like Marble Club. Marble Club, I've mastered some of their albums, and they're like a big collaborative group, and they've been really cool.
Okay, cool. I think like with PC Music closing this year as well, I think like it's kind of maybe coming to an end. I guess something that was underground that becomes popular, it ends up just becoming pop. So like it's not so much hyper pop now as it is pop. If that makes sense.
It's kind of interesting how it went. Like, it's kind of like so many things. When it gets big enough or well known enough, it can start to eat itself. Yeah. And I do think that that's happened, and it's not even like their fault. That's just kind of what happens when industry gets involved, or when money gets involved. It's easy for those things to kind of add up over time. But I mean, it's definitely cool to like be considered proto hyperpop and to kind of see where it's gone. And I'm super glad that all these people have something for themselves. Like, it's awesome, but it's not really something that I've like kept up on.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, because I feel like chip music's always kind of skated close to mainstream, but never quite got there. Something that, like, when I was first into chip music, like early on, Malcolm McLaren, who was like the manager of the Sex Pistols and that, he kind of wanted to siphon in a little bit and sort of claim he invented chiptune and that. And I remember reading this giant letter from Gwem, basically telling him to do one. But in a, you know, sort of, it was an angry letter, but like it was angry and polite and that. And I think, like, as soon as I read that, I was like, okay, these are my people. I like these people. And then that was kind of something that helped me get into chip music and that. So it's obviously something, I guess, like, I enjoy the underground aspect of it, but obviously I want artists to get paid and stuff as well. So it's kind of a tough one. You don't want something to get too outside of itself. Like, as you say, like, you know, it will eat itself eventually, but...
Yeah, like, I think that if you get to a certain point where, like, I think just, like, if pressure's on and you're thinking too hard about how people receive it, and if there's too much money involved, and all of a sudden you're starting to take risk calculations, you're already losing the plot, you know? Like, it's just fundamentally at odds with itself. And you can ride the wave, but it's not going to be a permanent wave, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I guess, sort of, as an artist as well, you know, nowadays, especially with, you know, social media and everything like that, you've got to be, like, your own brand and stuff. You've got to, you know, post all the time. I mean, like, I know you've sort of expressed distaste for, like, being on camera and stuff, so I kind of reached out to be, like, to help yourself, you know, almost not to help yourself, but, you know, it's something you want to do more.
Yeah, but like, as I get older, I want to be doing this stuff more.
So I guess just, you know, what you feel about, like, artists having to have this almost side project of the art to promote the art and stuff. It always seems like such a difficult one, but some people seem to do it a lot easier than others.
Yeah, I think that every artist these days has just been so atomized that we're all an industry in our own miniature scale. Like, we have to do everything. And it's who can do everything the most that seems to get ahead, which is cool. There's kind of like a meritocracy to it to a certain extent, you know, like you can work hard enough to be at the same scale as somebody who has rich parents. Like you just can. And that's pretty incredible. Like, where else can you do that but art? At the same time though, like, I am exhausted. I'm sure you're exhausted. Like, I'm sure we're all gonna die at 55 or something. like we're burning the candle at both ends, and it's unsustainable. There's a reason people don't do this a long time, and it's because it's really hard. But at the same time, it isn't impossible. It's just really hard. So, I think what are you gonna do?
Yeah, fair enough. I think personally for me, like, I feel myself less as I've not, like, done music stuff for a while. I feel myself more as, like, you know, putting on the gigs and you know, hopefully doing stuff like chiptune.chat will hopefully, you know, draw people in and, you know, get people sort of discussing stuff again. So that's trying to be my contribution to it all as well.
Yeah, I think that's really, it's increasingly important because, like, blogs died, music journalism is dead. A lot of people, you know, things are falling into TikTok and Discord and Telegram and Twitter and, you know, the Facebook, things that are like, they have no interest in being archival. Yeah. They have no interest in being curated. There's no narrative being formed. Everybody's loud, but nobody's, like, steering the ship. Yeah. And so people like you, like what you're doing, I think is increasingly important. And it's such a vital part of the scene that I feel like is kind of, they're not making it any easier. It's not easy to do. No. But at the same time, like, I want those people to get activated. Wake up, do it. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, I feel like, you know, I've said it before on this show, like, social media is kind of dead, if not dying. We need to bring back websites. We need to bring back blogs. Even emailing lists. Like, I'm kicking myself not setting up an emailing list, like, 15 years ago when I was doing this. Because that would have been a constant. You know, people still can get emails now.
Yeah, like, it's so, you know, cluttered, though, at the same time, though. Like, I was just thinking about that earlier today. Like, you know, when's the last time I opened my email, really? Like,
but I don't know, maybe people need to sort of, because, again, social media, sometimes, you know, you follow so many people and then you're not seeing their stuff, and then it's like, you forget about them, but not, like, through any fault of your own or any fault of their own as well, more importantly.
Yeah, like we're not even seeing there's that drill post that I really like. That's like, show computer, show me the posts in the order they arrive. Like, no, best I can do is this. Like,
yeah, like I just don't get. I mean, you always think like, surely I'd spend more time on a website if I could see the sites I want to see, but that doesn't seem to work. Like, that doesn't make sense money wise. I don't know. I'm obviously not the hyper capitalist person who can explain why it's actually good that you don't see anything. But I guess that's another discussion for another day. So I guess, like, with helping other artists in the scene and stuff, you mentioned before DESKPOP, which you co-run, is that right?
So DESKPOP I founded, and then sometime around 2017, 2018, I forget when, Braz was helping me run things and had a lot of like upstart and really like saw a vision for it that was ours. And also I was so busy like building a life. I was trying to get a career, and I was trying not to use that as like a money making thing. So at a certain point, like I was like, I'm at my limit, I can't build this how I want. And for the brand to thrive and survive, I was like, okay, I think we got to give this to Braz.
Right, okay.
And Braz has, for the most part, run it since then and has done incredible things with it. I've helped, I've mastered, I've kind of like helped to do track listing, I've helped to reach out to artists, I've helped when we do live events, run those and make sure that sounds good and all that stuff, networking. And also just like when Braz doesn't have a vision, we'll link up and we'll kind of talk through it and stuff like that. So I kind of like, a very, what's the word? Like a very consultant kind of thing going on with it. Like I would be consulted for things. But, in later years, especially with like, how the scene has changed since COVID, there will be more on this soon. But we're kind of not sure what to do with it. But everything that we've tried to do has been successful, and we're very like proud of what we've done. But we're kind of, there will be more news about it. Okay,
cool. Well, that's good to hear. Right, okay, I guess got a few more things. So, live performance wise, like obviously, I first spoke to you about the Chipfest stream and that, which was obviously fantastic. But you've also done like a few real life performances sort of now. I know you've done them beforehand and that as well, but how what has drawn you to sort of doing live performances as Floor Baba, and how have the reactions been? And I guess also, how is it different to you being in a band, playing shows, in a previous life? How sort of the Floor Baba live performances, how do they work? How are they going on? What's the reaction?
It's kind of interesting because I feel like every live show I do, I have to I approach it a little bit differently to find like what feels good or what's fun or what's safe to do or what. So each time I do a show, I'm always like, scratching my head and doing all these like weeks of planning because I'm trying to reinvent it already. Kind of like with my albums, like I don't really try to do the same thing twice. So it's been fun. It's been interesting. I must like it because I keep doing it, but it is a lot different in good and bad ways than like when I was in a band in like the early 2010s and stuff touring. It's kind of like, it's a little bit lonelier, I would say.
Okay.
But at the same time, there is less drama, and I can fight with myself, and the project will still go on. Whereas with a band, if you fight too much, the band breaks up, And so there's these kinds of benefits plus traveling. Like I can't even tell you how many times I'd be in the back of a van driving, trying to sleep, and a snare drum would fall on my head. Like that. I mean, it happened too many times, and now it never happens. So.
But then, like a sinful on your head would be a lot more painful, I imagine, than a snare drum.
Possibly. I don't know. A snare drum's pretty heavy. Like,
that's true.
If like a SP404 fell on my head, I'd probably be like, whatever. But yeah, and then also as far as like crowd goes, it's been amazing. Like I've had the benefit of performing at quite a few festivals actually. Typically like kind of chiptune centered festivals. People always have a ball. Super great reaction. I have a great time. It's a great community. And I'm excited to it. perform at another festival soon, and then also Atlanta on exactly 1 week from now.
Well, it'll be on Sunday because it doesn't go out on Thursday. But
Yeah,
so
from today.
So yeah, Sunday the 30th of July.
Yeah, I think that's right.
That's Atlanta, okay. So yeah, if you're in Atlanta, go and see Floor Baba. That'll be an excellent show. I guess the last question is, so what is the future of Floor Baba?
That's I've been kind of like thinking about that too, of if I'm getting serious, what does that mean? And a lot of people tell me that what I'm doing right now is like, I'm already doing a lot and it's going well and such. And I'm trying to figure out like, what else is it that my brain is telling me, hey, like you're feeling a certain way, you want to do something. And I don't know quite what that is yet. Kind of still working through it, but definitely still art, definitely still video, definitely still shows where I can and want to. And stuff like this. Like I love, like it's just great to be part of this community and this part, like this art community, where we get to do things like this. It's just good. A lot of people don't even have this. It's wild.
Okay, well, yeah, well, thank you very much. Thanks for spending some time with me. It's been great to chat.
Yeah.
So yeah, everyone, Floor Baba, thank you very much. Cheers. There we go, everyone. So that was the first ever chiptune chat with Floor Baba. Hopefully that was enjoyable. It was very pleasant to talk with Jessie. So thank you very much. And hopefully, yeah, you enjoyed it, got some insight from it. And yeah, please go and listen to Floor Baba and, buy some tunes and that. Thank you very much. Right, yeah, we've got a few. I've got to discuss some upcoming shows, and then I will play one more track, and then that'll be it's a stream slightly longer than usual. Try and stick to an hour or so, but it's Floor Baba, isn't it? So, yes, Nudie 11 chiptune shows is run by me, and so this is where I post about new shows. So the upcoming show. Also, if you're on Facebook, I've just set up a Facebook page for the upcoming show, for the chiptune shows. I'll paste that in the chat as well. So yeah, if you're on Facebook, give that a follow. So I try and make all the accounts sync to each other. So Instagram syncs to Facebook, Instagram syncs to Tumblr. Twitter removed all the API stuff, so I have to post on Twitter separately. There's no syncing with Threads at the moment, so Threads just gets absolutely ignored. But yeah, I obviously try and post them all on there. If you've got any upcoming shows, let me know. CalmDownKidder@gmail.com. But anyway, here are the shows. So obviously, Floor Baba. They're playing the Earl in Atlanta this Saturday, the 30th of July. So that's with a Vapera, Discoholic, and No Eyes. So that's should be a good, varied lineup there. That'll be a fun show if you're in Atlanta. Go and see Floor Baba. Also, Jelly Bear is doing a Brazilian Twitch stream. So Jelly Bear, DJ Kool-Aid, Andy Blizz, Walker on Girl, and DJ Gatorades. So that's on Twitch TV. DJ Gatorades. When's that? That's July the 29th. So yeah, get involved in that. That should be a good fun one. Also got a few more. So yeah, in August the 19th in Lyon, France, we've got Cyanide Dancing, Rainbow Trash, Bobby Snacks, amongst others. That's going to be like a chiptune / circuit bending / bit of everything type of show there. That'll be a good, fun, noisy one to go to. Get your earplugs, please. Don't want tinnitus. In Singapore, we've got Binary Tech Revolt. And you can see that that's on Saturday the 16th of September. And we got like so many acts there. We got the Australians, got the Singapore crew, got a UK crew, got Czech Republic crew, Nemesis, Plastic Bones, Sludge Feast, Snoop Troop, Microchip Terror, and so many more. So yeah, if you're in Singapore, get involved to that. Also, New D11 designed this poster. So here's from Break Bleeps. This is Donut Shoes, Diamond Machine, and Bunny, and Digital Fusion Open Mic, and that's July the 28th, and that's a free show as well. So if you're in Boston, get over to that. That'll be a belter. And then so I'll talk about this one last because that's the track I'm going to play. So yeah, if you're here in the UK, in Sheffield, we've got Steel City Chiptune, the Saturday the 26th of August, and that's with Chipsel, Rainbow Trash, Infotoxin, Sky Blaze. That'll be an absolute belter show. Bobby Smacks on visuals. That's streaming as well on Twitch. I'll definitely be at that show. So yeah, come and say hello. What else have we got? I think that's kind of it. These are all already happened. Oh yeah, BitGen Gamer Fest, August the 5th in Baltimore. You've got Mega Ran, you've got Danimal Cannon, you've got Cheap Dinosaurs, Animal Style, Optimus Chad, amongst others. That should be a big lineup there. 2 p.m. till 1 a.m. That's a heavy one, but yeah, if you're in Baltimore, get involved. That should be a top one. And I think that might be it. Oh yeah, 65 Days of Static have Chipsel supporting them on their UK tour in September. So that's Glasgow, Manchester, London, Bristol, Brighton. Yeah, that's a Wildlight 10 anniversary tour, 10 years, sorry. And obviously Chipsel supporting. I've bought my ticket for that one, so I'll be there in Manchester. Again, if you want to say hello, that's fine. And I think that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, there's this, the one I didn't mention before is the Data Fruits. Ooh, let me find it. The Data Fruits World Expo in Dad's, Chicago, August the 4th and 5th. There's like a massive lineup there. Includes Sasquatch, it includes Fire Drill, Venusai, Wi-Fi Cell Phone Kids, and it also includes our last track for the evening. So I'm going to put this as From the Vault. This is Oven Rake, who'll be playing at that Data Fruit show. So go and see them. Right, this is an album from, let me double check, 2011, called 21 Years of Disappointment. And so the description, the Game Boy and I are 21 years old. Nothing but disappointment. So there you go. Right, so yeah, this is Oven Rake with Do You Love Her? There we go. That was Do You Love Her by Love and Rake from 21 Years of Disappointment. So that's pretty much it for the show today, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the interview with Floor Baba, and I definitely want to do more chats with people, so, you know, get in touch, especially if you've got an album or a big show coming up. It doesn't have to be like that, you know, it can just be a chat, that's absolutely fine, but obviously, you know, it's cool to link it to something new to get people to buy and stuff like that. So yeah, always get in touch. Email is probably best, CalmDownKidder@gmail.com. But also, if you visit chiptune.chat, it's a website and it links to this page. It's my link tree at the moment. Hopefully, I might change that to a proper site at some point down the future. So yeah, you can contact me there. That'll go straight to my email account, and I'll be able to respond to you. So yeah, send gig posters, send, you know, new releases, tech news as well. I'm always up for, you know, posting about tech news as well. Always let me know, and you can find all the links to everything there. So chiptune.chat got links to this Twitch channel, the YouTube playlist. All the shows go on YouTube shortly after, and then I put all the tracks that I play on a Spotify playlist as well. And then also, if you're on any of the social media sites, give us a follow on there. I'm obviously on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, and Facebook. And chiptune shows as well. If you want to find out about any chiptune shows across the world, I run these accounts. So yeah, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Tumblr would be the best places for that. I do have Threads, but at the moment you can't cross-post, so it's getting jibbed off for the time being. And if you want to support me as well, there's a few ways to do that at the bottom. But yeah, thank you very much to people who subscribed as well. Esco Man subscribed, I believe. So yeah, thank you very much for that. I do really appreciate that. And everyone who's followed, hello. This is Chiptune Chat. It's a weekly show. Chiptune Chat. It's a weekly show every Thursday, 7 p.m. UK time. And that's going to be it for this week. So yeah, again, same time next week. I try and keep it like, you know, an hour or so each episode. Sometimes to go a bit longer, but that's fine. I'm gonna raid Glitchcraft because she raided me last time. They raided me last time. So if you want to watch some cool video game stream, stay on. If not, see you next week, hopefully. Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye.
Ow, ow, ow.
Unbreakable.
Ow.